Ethiopia, one of Africa's largest and oldest nations, has been landlocked since 1993, when it lost its only coastline. This dramatic change came after decades of conflict and struggle, forever altering the country's destiny. Eritrea's independence took away Ethiopia's entire access to the Red Sea, leaving it surrounded by land and dependent on its neighbors for trade. Overnight, a country of over 120 million lost direct access to the sea, forced to funnel nearly all its trade through Djibouti's port. This single route became Ethiopia's economic lifeline, connecting its factories, farms, and markets to the world. This dependency isn't just inconvenient, it's a strategic vulnerability that shapes Ethiopia's economy, security, and foreign policy. The government must constantly negotiate and maintain good relations with Djibouti, knowing that any disruption could have devastating consequences. Every import and export, from fuel to coffee, relies on a single corridor through a neighboring country. Even a minor border dispute or logistical hiccup can threaten the flow of goods and bring the economy to a standstill. As Ethiopia's economy has grown rapidly in recent years, so has the pressure of this reliance. New industries, urban expansion, and a booming population all depend on secure, affordable access to the sea. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed calls it a historical mistake, a thirst for the sea that must be quenched. He has made regaining maritime access a top priority, framing it as a matter of national pride and survival. What if Djibouti's port is disrupted by politics, instability, or rising fees? The risks are real, and Ethiopia's leaders know that relying on a single foreign port is a gamble they can't afford forever. Ethiopia's entire economy could grind to a halt, with businesses shuttered, goods stranded, and millions affected almost overnight. The search for an alternative port has become a national security imperative. Ethiopia is exploring deals with neighboring countries, investing in infrastructure, and even considering building its own port facilities abroad. After 30 years, Ethiopia is ready to break free from this chokehold. The nation's thirst for the sea is stronger than ever, fueling new ambitions and shaping its future on the Horn of Africa. In engineering, a single point of failure can bring down an entire system. When everything depends on just one component, the entire operation is at risk if that component fails. This concept isn't just limited to machines, it applies to nations too. For Ethiopia, Djibouti's port is exactly that critical point. Over 95% of Ethiopia's international trade flows through this single gateway, making it the country's economic lifeline. Relying on one port in a volatile region is a massive risk. Djibouti holds all the leverage, setting terms and fees. Ethiopia has little bargaining power, and any disagreement can have immediate consequences for millions of people. Ethiopia's sovereignty is compromised. Its economic lifeline is in someone else's hands. The nation's ability to make independent decisions is limited by this dependency. The main trade route skirts unstable borders and the Red Sea, a hotspot for piracy and conflict. Any instability in the region can threaten the flow of goods and resources. Any disruption, political, military, or economic, could instantly paralyze Ethiopia's imports and exports. Even a temporary closure could have devastating effects on the country's economy and daily life. This isn't just about money, it's about survival. Businesses would grind to a halt, farmers couldn't sell their crops, and workers would lose their livelihoods. A blockade would mean no fuel, no food, and no military supplies. Social unrest would follow. The consequences would ripple through every layer of society, from city streets to rural villages. Ethiopia's leaders know they can't gamble their nation's future on a single fragile thread. They understand that true independence requires control over critical infrastructure. The search for a second port isn't about abandoning Djibouti. It's about building resilience. It's about ensuring that Ethiopia can withstand shocks and adapt to changing circumstances. Ethiopia needs options to secure its destiny. Only by diversifying its access to the sea can the country truly safeguard its future and the well-being of its people? Enter Lamu Port, a bold new chapter in East Africa's maritime story. Kenya's ambitious new deep-water gateway on the Indian Ocean is more than just a port. It's a symbol of the country's vision to become a regional trade powerhouse. Built as the centerpiece of the Lapset corridor, Lamu is designed to connect Kenya's coast with Ethiopia and South Sudan, opening up vast new trade routes and economic opportunities for the entire region. For Ethiopia, a landlocked nation hungry for access to global markets, Lamu offers something priceless: a direct link to the sea and a chance to diversify its trade partners. For the first time in decades, Ethiopia has a real alternative to Djibouti, breaking the near monopoly that's defined its trade for years. This southern route bypasses the Red Sea's turmoil and choke points, giving Ethiopia a new geopolitical orientation and reducing its vulnerability to regional instability. Even shifting a fraction of Ethiopia's massive trade to Lamu would be a game-changer, injecting new life into the port and transforming regional logistics. For years, Lapset struggled without a major customer, its gleaming berths and cranes waiting for a breakthrough. Now, Ethiopia's massive trade volumes could finally make the project viable, turning Lamu into a bustling hub. Talks between Nairobi and Addis Ababa are intensifying, moving from high-level diplomacy to the nuts and bolts of logistics, infrastructure, and long-term deals that could reshape the region. This isn't just about a few trucks or containers. It's about building a new economic lifeline for East Africa. If successful, it could redraw East Africa's economic map, shifting the balance of trade and influence across the region. The Southern Gambit is now firmly on the table, with both countries betting on a future of shared prosperity. Ethiopia's thirst for the sea may finally be quenched, without a single shot fired, but through vision, negotiation, and the promise of a new era for East Africa. Kenya isn't giving away land, and Ethiopia isn't setting up a colony. Instead, they're forging a strategic partnership. Ethiopia gets guaranteed preferential access to Lamu Port. Think of it as a VIP pass. Ethiopia commits to sending cargo through Lamu, and Kenya offers incentives like reduced tariffs and streamlined customs. The backbone is infrastructure, roads, and eventually railways linking Lamu to Ethiopia. For Kenya, Ethiopia's business justifies the massive investment in Lapset. For Ethiopia, it's a lifeline to the sea. This is 21st century geopolitics power through shared infrastructure, not conquest. Both countries gain security and leverage by cooperating, not competing. It's a win-win corridor deal that binds their futures together. This partnership is pure mutual self-interest. Ethiopia gains bargaining power. No longer at Djibouti's mercy, it can negotiate better terms or shift trade south if needed. The Lamu route offers security, a backup if the northern corridor is ever blocked. For a landlocked nation, redundancy is priceless. Kenya, meanwhile, needs Ethiopia's cargo to make Lapset a success. Without Ethiopia, Lamu risks becoming a costly ghost port. Ethiopia's trade brings revenue, jobs, and development to Kenya's north. It also elevates Kenya's geopolitical status, transforming it into a key regional player. The alliance deepens, creating a powerful southern axis in East Africa. Ethiopia gets a lifeline. Kenya gets leverage and growth. It's a rare, powerful win-win. Ethiopia's move to Lamu will send shockwaves across the region. Djibouti, long dependent on Ethiopian trade, faces a direct threat to its economy. Competition could spark a price war or strain diplomatic ties. The Horn of Africa's strategic gravity may shift south, away from the Red Sea's instability. Ethiopia's new southern corridor with Kenya could insulate it from northern conflicts. Regional power dynamics will change. Djibouti, Eritrea, and Somalia must adapt. Global powers with bases in Djibouti will watch closely. A simple commercial decision becomes a major geopolitical move. New winners and losers will emerge. The balance of power in East Africa is being quietly redrawn. This story reveals a new truth. In today's world, power is about access, not just territory. Ethiopia isn't trying to conquer a coastline, it's securing reliable, cost-effective sea access through partnership. Contracts, infrastructure, and cooperation now matter more than armies and borders. The Lapset corridor is more than a construction project. It's an instrument of national power. Kenya and Ethiopia are building prosperity and security on shared interests, not conflict. The real map of power is drawn with corridors and shipping lanes, not just borders. In this new world, having more than one way to reach the sea is the ultimate strength. Sometimes the most powerful move is building a better road, not a bigger army. Ethiopia's thirst for the sea may finally be quenched by access, not conquest.